Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Thursday and time for some captains ahead of round 21. And last week, not too bad with the captains. We had a pretty good week with captains, so we bounced back after a few lower ones. So what we have, like Dacos at 1 for a 146, Grundy for a 130, Baz for a 132, Bont for a 146, and Tim English was the only one for a 101 that didn't quite go over the 130 mark. But good to get some good captains for you. So hopefully you guys had one of those top four as your VC and took that score as your captain if your VC didn't quite get it done. But where are we actually at for the season? So it's still 10th overall. So still not too bad there. So we'll see how far we can, finish before the end of the season. But let's get stuck into the top 10 for round 21 and hopefully pick some more good captains for you this week. So a lot of these picks actually, I will preface in saying this, tune into the pre-lockout chat tomorrow afternoon because I'm recording this before teams get released and a few of these decisions in the top 10 will be heavily impacted on team selection and none more so than my number one option this week. And I'm going for big Rowan Marshall against North Melbourne on the Sunday under the roof at Marvel. He's at number one because if he has got no Max Heath, he'll be solo ruck against a cherryless North Melbourne. And we saw what Grundy did a couple of weeks ago. Scored about 120 points in three quarters, essentially. He played hardly any of the last quarter. And last one, I'm not really looking at what Stanley or that did because obviously they're not a number one ruck per se. So not going to put up those big scores. We know that what Ryan Marshall can do when he has got a great matchup. He can pig out like the best of the players in the competition and he can go 160, 170. So he's got a massive, massive ceiling. I'm just quickly getting up here the Geelong North game. What did Stanley end up doing? Well, Blitzar's got a 93 and he had 27 hitouts. So that's not too bad. And he kicked three behinds there. Stanley 53 with 19 hitouts and Neil got a ton. So it's a bit hard to probably say what those rucks did against North. But in his last three against North Melbourne Marshall, 117, 123 and 83. So pretty good scores even against Tristan Cherry. If he can do that against Cherry, I think he can go even bigger against Teakle and North Melbourne. But obviously, providing that Max Heath isn't named. If Max Heath is named, he would probably drop down to number 4 or number 5 at the moment. Coming at number 2, I've got Matt Scorn. So the rucks this week is the ones that are dominating here. So Matt Scorn up against West Coast. Scored 158 against them earlier this season. Apparently Flynn has been dropped, or that's the talk. So he'd be up against Bailey Williams, which is a little bit trickier. He scored 71 against them last year. I think he was subbed out early in that game. Then at 86 before that as well. So not great the other two before that. But Max in great form. Scored 123 last week against St Kilda. And we know West Coast get up points to rucks. So I think Gaunt is going to go big there on the first game on the Saturday. They're playing a bit earlier this round. Number 3, I've got Nasai Wanganeen-Miller. He comes in at number 3, and I'd say if Heath is named, then Marshall will probably drop below Nasai, and Nasai would be my favourite Saint in this game. So his last 3 against North Melbourne, 104, 89, 125, and obviously we know how good he has been in his last few weeks. 3 of his last 4 have been over 145 points, which is absolutely ridiculous. Just getting out here. So, obviously 147 last week, 151, then a 73 against Sydney with a tag, then a 145, 108, 125, 128, 117, 134. Just getting it done week in, week out. Hasn't played North this year, but I expect him to go really well. I don't even know who would be able to go with him from North personally. I'd struggle to find a player. Maybe I think I heard, was it Zave or someone told me maybe they send like a Tom Powell or something to him, but I honestly don't know. So I think Nasai gets it done and goes really well against North on Sunday. Coming at number 4, I've got Noah Anderson against Richmond. So he's got a great record against Richmond in his career. So he's got an average of 127.8, I believe it was, when I looked in his career against Richmond. Just quickly getting it up here. He's got a 110 against them this year as well. So 127.8 in his 4 career games. So his 4 scores against them, 110, 126, 99, 134, 141. So did they maybe meet in, they wouldn't have met in a final or anything. So it says he's played 5 games against them. So I don't really know exactly where the others, maybe it was I reckon it was opening round. I reckon there was an opening round game. Was it last year? I think he scored the 126. But still, great record against them regardless, going really well, and his form has been very good as well. 107, 78 against the Crows, but then 106, 122, 93, 133. So since the bye has been pretty good, but this is a game I think Anderson will be able to fill his boots. I think he'll have a really strong game here, and I think he'll be able to put up a big ceiling score. And rounding out my top 5 this week is Brody Grundy up against Essendon. Probably getting him slightly lower. I guess it's probably just seeing the teams. I got him lower just because I'm assuming that Peter Laddams is going to be named. So I don't love the fact that Laddams will be there because either Laddams will be the sub and they'll do the same things what I did last time. Maybe Grundy subbed out, or Laddams starts and they share the ruck a bit more. That's my one worry with Grundy this week. Scored a 115 against him earlier this year, probably in the patch where he wasn't going absolutely massive, but 115 still solid. But obviously he's up against Goldstein or Vicentini this week. So I think Grundy will still get it done, but he's one that I'm really keen to see teams. And if Laddams isn't named, he would probably jump up maybe to fourth or even third, potentially. Well, obviously, we'll see what happens with Marshall. So that's why I said teams are going to dictate a lot of the order this week. Coming in at number 6, I've got Lachie Whitfield. So he's not selected by a lot of people on the Captain's Challenge so far, but obviously because it's not top 5, it's this is my top 10. But he's got a great record against Western Bulldogs in his last 5. 117, 147, 100, 134, 130. That 3 of his last 5 have been over 130. And just getting it done as well. So his last few scores haven't been massive, probably good for non-owners. I'm one that's bringing him in this week. So he's gone back-to-back 109s in his last couple of games, but then a 120 before that. Obviously got that concussion against Gold Coast, but 111, 80. So he had that, obviously, bit of a tricky stretch from rounds 10 to rounds 13 where he's playing a lot in the forward half, but now back in that half-back role. But we know he can put up some big ceiling scores when he's got a good matchup. So for me, he is a good VC option this week if you wanted to go there. I've got Matt Rao at 7, and a lot of people are probably saying, why is he not above Lachie Whitfield in my top 10? And you probably got a good point. His last 5 against Richmond, 88, 122, 112, 110, 95. Then I've got him lower just because the Richmond matchup, I wonder if this is a matchup that will suit a guy like Matt Rao, right? Because he's gone really well last few weeks and over a number of weeks against maybe trickier, tougher opponents. Like he went well against Brisbane, went well against Collingwood, scored all right against the Crows as well. So they're tougher teams, right? So where's Richmond? Is he going to tackle as much? Is he going to get that outside ball? I think he will. I'm not saying he's not going to. That's probably just my one asterisk. That's why he's lower. But again, with team selection this week, does he maybe rise up maybe into the top 5 if I bump someone out like Laddams is named? Does he go in the top 5 for Grundy or something like that? So he's still very much up there. And if you've got him, I think he's a really good VC shout there instead. I've got Nick Dacos at number 8 against Brisbane. So his record against Brisbane's been pretty good. 131 against them earlier this year, then a 116 and 101 in his other couple of games there. And I think he had a 110 in the grand final a couple of years ago when they played each other. And Brisbane obviously are tricky to score against. Does a Berry or a Dunkley go to him? I'm not sure. But Dacos is just absolutely killing at the moment. His scoring at the moment is incredible. He's now the number 1 averaging 110. Since the mid-season bye, 102, 137, 132, 78, 162, 146. And that 78 was when he obviously injured his ankle very early in the game. So you can probably say that's a bit of an excuse as to why he didn't have a great score. But I really like him as a VC option because he's got the ceiling. Might not be the great matchup, but you do have that potential ceiling score there. So you could definitely go there. I got Baz at number 9, a 123 against Port Adelaide. The reason I've got him lower is just with that slight flag, hearing throughout the week that there's the rumours of, is he going to be laid out? Is he dealing with some soreness? So that's the only reason he's lower. But if we get some sort of, I was going to say concrete sort of talk that he's going to play, but there's probably never going to be that. So that's my only worry this week. And you've got your St Kilda boys that have played the game before that. I'd rather captain one of those guys than Baz this week, just with the off chance he misses. But he is in the top 10 there. And then I do have Tim English at number 10 against the Giants this week. Last 5 against them, 124, 87, 80, 153, 151. So some massive scores there, but a couple of 80s. Again, he could be a good VC shout tonight in the game, and I think he'll get it done against Briggs. It's a good matchup for him, and I think he'll go well under the roof. I've got 5 names, though, that missed out on the top 5 that were slightly unlucky. A couple of reasons why they missed. So I got Bont, 79, 92, 71, 86, 129 his last 5 against GWS. That 79 as well this year was when he was subbed out at 3/4 time. I don't see who's going to go to him tonight. Like Bedford could, but Bedford hasn't been tagging and it's going to mess around with their system they've been playing the last few weeks. So I don't know if they're going to go there. So Bont hasn't got a great record against the Giants, but under the roof, big game for the Dogs. They need to win to keep in the finals hunt. I think the Bont does score quite well tonight. So he just missed out, but he could be a VC option because he's got the ceiling. Jordan Dawson. Hawthorn's not a great matchup, but it is at home, and I just feel like this is a game where Jordan Dawson's going to have a good day, right? So he scored 97 against Hawthorn early this year, where he was like the 2nd or 3rd highest scoring player on the ground. It was that really cold night in Tassie, low-scoring fantasy game. Had a 60 against them last year. that was the game where he was nearly laid out with that calf injury, so he was very, very close to missing. So I put it down to his playing in that game hampered. Then a 103 before that, and then it got a 76. And I remember that game was at Marvel, and he got tagged by Finn McGuinness. That was the first ever time Jordan Dawson got tagged by someone. There'll be no tag from Finn McGuinness, so Connor Nash could go to him. But Dawson, we've seen this year, can go forward. He can go around the ground. So I don't know if they're going to necessarily tag him per se. And Nash hasn't really been doing any jobs. So like at stoppage, Nash will probably stand next to Dawson. But I think he can put up a good score. Don't know if I'd VC him this week, but he's there. That's outside as an option. Isaac Heaney and Errol Goulden. People probably thinking, where are they in the top 10? Why are they not in the top 10? I'm hearing there's going to be a lot of rain in Sydney on Saturday. I'll double check the weather forecast tomorrow. And obviously, as I said, pre-lockout chat will be where the top 10 is finalised. But at the moment, if it's heavy, heavy rain, I just don't see either guy putting up a 130 ceiling score against the Bombers. If it's raining, Goulden won't get his marks. He might get some tackles, but he's not going to get those marks. And we know that when Goulden puts up those massive scores, he gets a lot of marks. And then Heaney could be the one that does well. He might kick 4 goals, 5 goals maybe, and still have 25 touches. Maybe not many marks, or might have a few tackles. So he might be the one that could slide into the top 10. But yeah, I just don't know if I love... Like VC, yes, for both these guys, but the weather just scares me off a little bit because these guys aren't like a Matt Rowell or a Josh Dunkley or a Jack Steer where they're going to lay 10, 15 tackles in the wet. So that's my only question mark on those two guys. And Andrew Brayshaw missed out as well, just because he's been a little bit up and down as of late. Where is he here? So he's got Carlton, 148, 97, 80, 116, 124 in his last 5 against him. That 148 was at Gatherend last year. So could go quite well. Carlton are giving up points, so he could be a fullback captain option if you've got a red dot playing in that last game. So he could be someone there that you do look at potentially. I should have said also the scores for Heaney in their last 5 and Goulden for the last 5 against the Essendon. So Heaney, 82, 94, 117, 87, 61. So not great. So only 1 ton his last 5 against the Bombers. And then Errol in his last 4, 94, 117, 142, and 90. So a little bit better, but still a little bit up and down. So that's where I'd lean to with those guys. But quickly with a couple other options here. Who didn't we chat about? So we chatted about most people. So Jeremy Cameron, he's only really a captain option, right? I wouldn't make him captain, even though he could have a big day there. But drafted could be a good shout for a captain. Jack Sinclair, surprisingly, could be a good option this week. If Nasai obviously is playing midfield again, which I would imagine he does. Sinclair's been getting it done. Obviously, he's been having some really good scores as of late. So he scored the 125 last week against Melbourne, then a 108, 103, 92 in his last 4. But 156 against North last year. And I think he had a 120 odd the game before that. So, or it might have been a couple of games ago. But he's had some good scores against North lately, including a 150 last year. So it could be a bit of a sneaky shout. But I think when you got Nasai and Marshall in the same game, they're probably the guys you go to there. Tom Green, I think he had a 170 like a couple of years ago against the Dogs. But I'm just not looking there as a captain at the moment. Already a VC, just doesn't have that same ceiling. Harry Sheezel's an option, but obviously just doesn't have the same ceiling as he has done in previous years playing in defence. But again, still getting it done. 111, 102, 113 in his last 3. Had that 65 against the Hawks in round 16 and then a 93 against the Dogs. But then 116, 131, 119 before that. So getting it done pretty consistent. But yeah, I'm not too sure about Sheezer. But you could go there as a captain. He's pretty safe. Sam Taylor. Bloody hell, that people are going to absolutely piss themselves at that. Sam Darcy has got Sam Taylor as an opponent this week. So, yeah, I wouldn't be looking at Darcy this week. Cozzy Pickett could be a VC shout, but I'm not sure he's got that massive ceiling. Holmes is a shout potentially as well. I wouldn't be going near Merritt or Butters this week with tags potentially going their way. And that's pretty much it. Darcy Moore's in here as well. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'd be leaving the captains there this week. So my plan at the moment, I've got Brody Grundy VC into Rowan Marshall, but obviously I've got a few guys I'm still considering, like Nasai Wangley Miller. I might put in captain if Heath is named. I've got Whitfield, so if Lambs is named and I want to go for Whitfield VC tonight, I could go there. I've got Nick Dacos I've got as another option as well in my own team. But at the moment, it is VC Grundy into Marshall. I probably would more likely go to Nick Dacos VC out of anyone into Marshall, but that's just currently where I'm leaning at the moment. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments below, guys. What are you guys doing with your captain and vice captain for round 21? And any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try and get to a couple if I can. But as always, if you do want a guaranteed answer to your AFL fantasy question, whether it be trades, captains, draft-related, league-related, whether you're trying to go for a certain rank or you want a full team review, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. We've got 1 month to go of the season, so if you'd like to shout us a pint, shout us a coffee, whatever you'd like to do, and just maybe sign up for last month and see what the Patreon's about, then feel free to do that. Link is in the description as well. So, but thanks everyone for tuning in. Good luck with your captain and vice captain this week. I won't be on tonight for a watch long. I'm out for dinner, and then tomorrow I'm obviously at the Crows game. So a couple watch longs we won't be doing, but pre-lockout chat will be tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. per time as always, and I'll be on live on Saturday night for another watch long for Collingwood and Brisbane. So it should be a really good game there. Looking forward to seeing a heap of legends tuning in on Saturday night. I'll be live about 15-20 minutes before that game starts as well. So anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for a pre-lockout chat or Saturday night for our watch long. So thanks everyone. Have a good night. See ya.